Yeah, I think there's a little too much purple in this this shot. Actually, it's kind of bugging me, but I already got the shirt on, so purple is my favorite color, though. So I'm rolling with it. Let's see. It's hard to get the lighting right for TikTok and for YouTube because I'm doing it on YouTube now and TikTok, and the color is always a little off on each one, and it's kind of sacrificing. Or the lighting is off a little on each one, so I don't know. I don't really have anything to talk about today. I'm just setting up a schedule for the week and decided to go live while I was at it. You know, maybe find something, maybe not. I admire your content and appreciate your vid about how Project 2025 is nothing new. Yeah, I did get a lot of kickback on that, obviously. People seem to misunderstand what I was saying. It's not that Project 2025 isn't something that we should be concerned with. It's just that it's the same things we were already concerned with. There was nothing, I don't find anything particularly unique about Project 2025. Oh, I didn't know. So, all right, you can't do TikTok and YouTube. At least I can't figure out how to do it. So I am streaming on TikTok on my phone and on YouTube on my computer. So that's how I do it, which is, I don't know. So it's not from the same source, which is why the lighting I have a problem with, but whatever. This is just kind of casual anyway. Yeah. So usually when I go live, I have a guest or I'm on with John or something like that, and I don't really have time to read the comments and answer questions. So I take these individual lives as the opportunity to answer folks' questions if I can, if they have any. I love the podcast. I just watched the worst president. Oh, you watched Worst Presidents one. Well, which is your worst president, Jalen? I appreciate you watching that. I was on there with Corey Bradford, who you guys probably already follow. He's fantastic. But if you don't follow Corey, he's a great history podcaster, social media creator. He does a lot more. He's YouTube and TikTok and everything. And it was a pretty funny bit. You saw, Jalen, that I didn't tell him I was going to be using fictional presidents. And so I kind of set him up there, but it was pretty funny. I had no idea if he'd seen Head of State, who I used Chris Rock's president as my number one, and I was glad that he had seen it. So Bush, honestly, all right, hey, fair enough. One thing that Corey and I both agreed on was that George W. Bush worse president than Donald Trump, which is most people would rank Trump worse. Well, a lot of people would, but I think Bush was God bless America. No place else. Oh, we got another Head of State fan. Good to see that. God, Head of State was such a terrible film. It was so awful. 58-year-old white guy here. You have the best content here. Love your blend of confidence and knowledge. Thank you very much, Mark. That means a lot to me. I mean, you're completely right. I do have the best content here, but and humility is not my strong point. But no, I try to keep it light and humorous. Folks. What's that? A scar here? But I let's keep it light and humorous and. Humor is incredibly disarming when you're talking about politics, especially, when you're talking about really controversial shit. People will let you say a lot if you make them laugh. You ever have, hey, Veronica, I know you're from New Jersey. I guess why would I know that? But it's the Garden State. You ever have somebody insult you, but the insult was so good that it made you laugh too? It's hard to stay mad when they do that. It's really tricky. So I like to try to, do that. Of course, you can't always, but it helps when you're trying to give a controversial topic. Born and raised in New Jersey. All right. Did The Sopranos do a good job of, have you seen Boardwalk Empire? I love that show. That's an older HBO show with Steve Buscemi. It's a fantastic show. Underrated, I say. Although, it was critically well acclaimed, but I don't think it gets the respect it deserves because it's really, really good. Being funny probably just keeps me out of trouble. It does. It does. You get away with a lot more if you're funny. And honestly, and being funny too, it's, how do I put this? So I know plenty of smart people who aren't funny, but I know very few funny people who aren't smart. Just to craft a joke and, do clever turn of phrase and and pique people's interest in humor, it takes a bit of intelligence. So, just part of Jester's privilege. Yep, absolutely correct. Sarcasm and a quick wit is indicative of being very smart. I agree. Quick wit more than sarcasm, because I feel like, I don't know, I just know a lot of people who are sarcastic and it's just bland and just like obnoxious, but good sarcasm. But I see what you're trying to say. Intelligence plus trauma is funny. Oh, that's was pretty funny. That was pretty good. Which president ended up being the top tough guy? You know what? I never finished my series. I think I stopped on, it was somewhere around Theodore Roosevelt, Taft. I think Taft was the last one I did. And then I tried doing a few more, and I wasn't into it. So I got to finish now. Everyone I wrote was just longer than I wanted. And the presidents no one really cares about, like Harding and Coolidge or, like no one gives a fuck about those presidents. So I just want to skip forward to FDR, the one. So I don't know. I've been saying I've been going to do this for weeks now. I never got around to it. You know what I find funny is people who said they were gifted kids when they were young and now they're burnouts and everything. Were they just handing out that gifted title to everybody? Because most of the people I met who say, "Oh, I was a gifted kid in school," are painfully normal now, just like as unimpressive as hell. So I wasn't a gifted kid, so I don't know. Let's see. Fillmore, Harrison. Oh man, FDR would be a tough one to talk about. No, FDR is easy. I already got the joke ready for FDR. I did Fillmore and Harrison. Well, there's two Harrisons. You're probably talking about William Henry Harrison. I mean, maybe you're talking about Benjamin Harrison. I don't know, but Millard Fillmore was a really good-looking dude. Like, too good-looking to be president. There's no way that guy should have been a politician. My dad wanted me to make me feel special and told me I was a gifted kid. Their gifted, talented programs is where they peaked. Jaden, you included with what, Jalen? Or Jaden, that you're unimpressed? Either Harrison. My favorite was your take on Garfield. So, for President Garfield, I made a comment saying that, believe it or not, if you know anything about Garfield, you know three things. You know that he hated Mondays, he loved lasagna, and he was executed in 1881. And I had a whole lot of people like, oh, so he liked lasagna like the cat. I said, no, that's the joke, folks. That's the joke. So I'm glad people laughed at that. No Ordinary Time is a great biography of the Roosevelts. I have not read that. I'm not familiar. This is, I remember years ago I was reading about the Roosevelts, and I knew they were related. But you know how the Roosevelts are related? They are fourth cousins. And look, that's related, but not really. Fourth cousin, come on. I'm probably fourth cousins with some of you. So that is a pretty distant relation right there. I don't know. I guess it counts, but it's pretty far. FDR was related to Eleanor Roosevelt too, but if she was his fourth cousin, that's a pretty... I've never met any of my fourth cousins. Have you? I'll put it that way. Hell, I've never met a second cousin. And by the way, so I had when I was a recruiter in the Army, my cousin's kid wanted to enlist, and so she came over and stayed with me for a weekend, but she didn't get in. Like, she failed at MEPS, and so she had to come back. So she stayed with me a couple months while she was getting ready to go out. And I thought she was my second cousin, but no, your cousin's kid is still your first cousin. Your cousin's kid is your first cousin once removed. And I said, okay, well, what's a second cousin? So a second cousin would be like your grandparents' sibling's kid. Have you ever met your grandparents' sibling? Maybe you have. I haven't. So yeah, I've never seen a second cousin, let alone a fourth. Yeah, come on, no. Hardly counts a relation to my big Italian family over here. I know every one of them. You know your second or fourth cousins. I mean, either way, it's pretty impressive. These family dynamics get confusing. Right? Yeah. Of course I've met them. Oh, I mean, met who? I guess I should have clarified between second and fourth. Wow, second and fourth? That's crazy. Yeah, I have no clue who my second cousins are. Am I the only one? Am I the only one who's never met a second or fourth cousin, third or fourth cousin? My grandparents, siblings, kids. Oh, wow. Incredible. Huh. I don't even know their names. Uh, First cousins that are genetic siblings because of twins. Oh yeah, that's cool. I'm in Washington, and my mom's cousin is my closest. Oh, that's cool. It's been a long time. Yeah, I don't have the faintest idea who my grandparents' siblings are. All my grandparents are dead, so too late to meet them. My cousins live overseas. Wow, we got Little Miss Worldwide over here with her international conglomeration of family members. Mm. Isn't Bernie Sanders' brother part of the Green Party in Britain? No idea. No idea. Did you start out doing political content? I can see how one would fall into it. Yeah, I always wanted to do political content. That's how I started out. When I first started, I wanted to call my account C Student Politics because I was a C student in high school. And the way I see it, if a C student like me can figure this politics stuff out, anybody can. But I changed the power's taken on given, or settled on that one. And the first video I had that gained any traction was a video I did about a Confederate flag in Minnesota that's in a museum. And it was a cool story. It got like 10,000 views. I was very surprised. Like, oh, look at that. And then I did another video about white privilege, about how I don't like the term white privilege. And that video got 70,000 views. This all happened within like a month. I was like, oh, hey, all right. This could go somewhere. And it kind of, so I've always just done politics. Let's see. The labels get confusing too, because every great aunt I call, of course. I mean, you're not going to say great, of course. My niece have the same great grandmother from both parents. My nieces have the same great grandmother from both parents. How were you a C student? I was very bad at math, and believe it or not, grammar. I got like D's in all my math classes, my grammar classes. I loved literature and poetry, and I was a really good speller, but I couldn't figure out like subject verb agreements and indirect objects and diagramming sentences. I was horrible at it. And in fact, I was bad at it until like my sophomore year in college. I took, Comp 1, my freshman year. I think I got a C. And I shit you not, I still remember I was walking to class my sophomore year of grammar class, English Comp 2, and it hit. It all made sense. And I've been great at grammar ever since. And I actually failed college math in college. And I got a D. You needed a C to pass. But over the years, I've gotten really good at math. Like I tutored it when I was in the Army for people trying to get a higher score and everything. I'm just a really slow learner. So, in high school, I didn't do very well. I did all right. What if Adam and Eve ate from the tree of life first? I know, I've wondered about that. It's weird. The tree of life is a weird, interesting addition in there. I don't know what's up with that. Like, what if they ate for the tree that gave them everlasting life? I hate math. Math is the bane of my existence. Yeah, I still kind of hate it, although I'm pretty good at it now. I'd say I'm above average at math now, but I wasn't growing up. The only thing I remember being taught grammar was ninth grade time. Really? You didn't have grammar in like, I feel like I had it every year, except maybe one. Like maybe I didn't have it my senior year. I didn't realize I was, ADHD until like a year or two ago. Well, yeah, it's true for a lot of people. You see Oliver last week? No, I haven't seen John Oliver in a while. Slow learning is underrated. Yeah, I'm a pretty slow learner. 8th grade was my big grammar year. Diagramming sentences. God, A lot of times people talk about school. It's like, oh, why did I do this? But it's actually important stuff. I feel that way about diagramming sentences. I did not need to do that. I don't care. I don't know. I haven't found any practical use for it because it's not as if I didn't know how to speak the English language. I can see if you're learning a language, how that could be important, but we knew how to speak, And I remember examples they gave me. They gave me examples like, if you've already eaten, the word you're supposed to use is ate, not et, like et. That's like, who says et? Who says that? There was another one too, like an example they gave. It was like, well, nobody taught. I don't know. Oh. I was a little slower learner. Maybe I'd have better study habits. I don't particularly have great study habits. One thing too, I'm actually kind of lazy. Most other things that I was enjoyed were things that I just picked up really quickly and I liked. But if I don't pick up quickly on it, it's like, ugh, I don't want to do it. So. I remember a joke, the punchline of which, no, it was 7 eggs, 1 egg. Wow, yeah, one. Who does that? 7 eggs I ate. I don't. Would you consider yourself an agnostic or an atheist? Both. So a lot of people see agnosticism and atheism. Technically, by the way, this is just the definition of the word. Answer two different things. Someone who says they're an agnostic is someone who says they don't know if a God exists. And someone who's an atheist is someone who doesn't believe God exists, which are two different things. Technically, I think everyone's an agnostic. Everybody, like everyone, like the Pope is an agnostic because the Pope doesn't know that God exists. The Pope believes God exists. He can say he knows, but he doesn't. He has no proof that God exists at all. So I would call the Pope an agnostic theist. He's a person who doesn't know God exists, but believes anyway, which I don't think makes any sense. But I don't know if God exists, but I don't believe one does. Instead of 8, did not say it was a good joke. Just use it. Agree about everyone being agnostic if they are truly on. Yes, yeah, that's why like a lot of people think agnostic is just some middle ground between theism and atheism. It's not. It's just a different question. Do you believe religion is inherently bad? No, I mean I think it's inherently irrational, but just because it's irrational doesn't I think it's bad. I would prefer people. I don't know. I don't get it. I understand why people believe in religion and because religion can offer, utility. It does make people happier. It's great at bringing communities together. It's great. It's the best tool that humans have come up with. Doesn't mean it's right, but religion can get bad. It can, but it can get good too. That's what I'm saying. Like religion does a lot of good things. Now, I don't think religion can do anything uniquely good because it's whatever good religion can do can be done without religion as well. So I'm not going to say it's inherently bad, but it's definitely inherently irrational. I'm sorry, but that's a terrible pedantic take on what agnosticism means. I don't give a fuck, Chris, what you think about that. It's just, look, if you don't want to call it that, fine. I don't give a shit. That's just the definition of the word. So I don't know what to tell you. It does get old though when you're like, oh well, you're not actually an atheist, you're an agnostic. Fine, call me whatever you want. I don't believe God exists. I don't know what to tell you. He just explained it complete. I know, right? Yeah, it's like we got Chris pushing up his glasses over here. Oh well, if you look at the works of Immanuel Kant and Nietzsche, like. Oh, that's not the definition of the word. Yes, it is. And if it were, it'd be a useless definition. Okay, man, whatever. Did you grow up believing a certain religion? If you did, when did you stop believing? Yeah, I grew up an independent fundamental Baptist, and I stopped believing somewhere around I was like 20 years old. I don't know if a God exists, and I don't actually believe one exists. That's my position too. My mind has definitely had more free and easier nights since I gave her. Oh yeah, I mean, eventually I got there. At first, it's hard though. At first, it's kind of difficult because, losing my faith was a really challenging part of my life. I had a relationship I was in fell apart because I was dating a believer. Not only like when you lose, like God isn't. This is something that people who never believe don't understand. Is that God wasn't some sort of thought experiment for people like us. God was your friend. God was the person who guided you, the person who created you, who loved you. But my belief in God was a metaphysical certitude. I felt like I lost a limb, and I was depressed for years, and I couldn't tell anybody because I didn't want my family to worry about me going to hell and stuff like that. So I just never told anyone about it, and for years. And but afterward, yeah, it's fine now. It doesn't bother me much anymore. My mind has. Oh, I already said that. Reverend Carla is great at explaining how you can unchurch your life. I don't know who that is. Yeah, most of my family still doesn't know. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's rough. I had to tell my folks because I kept dating. So you kind of your cast is kind of made in puberty with the type of person that you date. I kept dating the same type of girl, good Christian girls, and because that's who I was attracted to. And in the beginning, they were all cool with it. I did tell them they were cool with the atheism thing, but once we started getting serious and they started thinking about, well, how are we gonna, they still went to church all the time, and how are we gonna raise our kids and all that? It always fell apart. And it happened one too many times. My folks were like, okay, teacher, what's going on? I had to tell them. They took it really great. So I wasn't worried about them being angry. I was just worried about them being scared. Not believing in God, you can lose the church community. Yes, true. She's on here. She's wonderful to listen to. Okay, yeah, I don't know Reverend Carla at all. I talked to a few people. I do another podcast, by the way, called the Kids from It podcast. If you guys want to follow that on YouTube, feel free to go ahead. We just started it with a few other people like 2 months ago, and we talk about faith and deconstruction and everything. Bethany says, TJ sent you a snap of our song. You better know which song. Now we're secret. Oh, it's not Wham or Secret Lovers. What was the other one? I'll have to check that, Bethany. One of our clubs. Oh, well, that's too many to pick from. Was it Nelly? I mean, there's way too many to pick from there. Do you know who Mike Brigandy is? I do not. I stopped going to church because I took it seriously. Couldn't process what I no longer believe. I know. Yeah, right. That's why I get so frustrated when I talk to believers who don't know anything about the Bible. It's like, okay, this is your God here. This is the most important thing in the universe. And you don't give this God the respect of knowing what he said. I don't understand that at all. Bethany, I'll have to check that. I did get a text saying you sent me a snap, but I haven't used Snapchat in a while, so I have to download it again. Sometimes getting a ministry degree makes you an atheist. I don't look. I do say this all the time. The more you find out about the Bible and the more you study about religion in general, I think it just increases your chances of being an atheist. It just kind of has to. There's no way you can keep reading about this stuff and how the Bible. That's what made me leave Christianity, not necessarily become an atheist, was that I found out exactly how the Bible was constructed, the New Testament in specific. And I was like, okay, I can't continue to be a Christian knowing that, the Bible was just decided by regular people, not the apostles, not Jesus or anything. It was just regular humans, the books of the Bible were written or the New Testament were written right around the time of Jesus, like between the years AD 50 and like AD 110 or 120. So within like 80, 90 years of Jesus's death, the New Testament books were written, but along with a lot of other books though. And so the ones that were chosen by, bishops who lived like, 30, 40 years after Jesus died, up to like 150 years after Jesus died. So yeah. And although the books of the Bible were written pretty close to the time of Christ, they weren't like the official, because there were several different competing canons until like AD 300 at the Council of Hippo. Let's see. Do you think Pascal's wager argument for God is one of the worst? It is, man. Like that's how you know someone who hasn't taken this seriously. Someone who has put zero thought into this is when they bring up Pascal's wager. For those of you who don't know what Pascal's wager is, that's a what if you're wrong question. Like I would if you're wrong about God's existence, you die and go to hell. If you're right and you believe God exists, you go to heaven. So you have more to lose by not believing in God than believing. Of course, that's ridiculous for 1,000 different reasons. For the most important reason is that you either believe or you don't. You can't force yourself to believe something. Like you show me a stop sign, I can't force myself to believe it's green. It's red. That's what I see. You're either convinced or you're not. And you're not going to fool God on a technicality, Like if God knows you don't believe, you can't bluff your way into heaven. That's the main argument against it. The second is like, well, what if you're wrong? Like, what if it's not Yahweh and Jesus? What if it's any other of the God? You'll be in hell right along with me. So that doesn't work either. So yeah, it's a stupid question. It's a question that rises with someone who hasn't really thought about it at all. Later, Veronica. Thanks for coming by. I don't mind you being wrong, but patronizing. Oh my God. Well, then leave, Chris. No one's keeping you here, man. Or what you have such a limited amount of time on Earth, and you're using it to like say absurd comments to someone you don't know on the internet. Jesus, go have fun, man. Unless it's horribly translated, it's so clearly written by men. Yeah, that's the thing about too is that with the Bible that it's obvious. Like, listen, there's like verses in the Old Testament that tell you that God says if a single woman is raped, the punishment for the man is to either pay her father a fine or he has to marry the woman that he raped. That came from God. Like the moral center of the universe, like the being so powerful, he crafted galaxies and solar systems and whole. No. Now you tell me a Bronze Age warlord wrote that? Okay, that makes sense to me. You're telling me God himself wrote that? No, I don't believe that. It's like the standard that they have for God is so low that it's embarrassing. It's like I would say non-believers actually have non-believers have a higher opinion of God than believers do. And they act like believing doesn't cost anything. And I know, right? That's what I'm saying, man. It's like they don't bother knowing what the hell they're talking about and get mad at you for telling them, what their book actually says. What would you say to the best argument for God? I know all are wrong. What you say is the best. I don't know if there's a best one. There's no arguments that I think are good for God. I don't think there's any arguments for God. There are arguments that there are 1,000 arguments for which God is sufficient, but no arguments for which God is necessary. Like, why is there something instead of nothing? Don't know. No clue. Now, you could say, well, there is because a God did it. And if we just assume that a God exists that could create something out of nothing, all right, problem solved. But that doesn't really answer anything because you just move the question one step backwards. So I haven't seen any good arguments for God. I haven't. All you have are questions that would be answered by a theoretical God, but it's not really an answer at all. I do get a kick out of simulation theory too, because it's just God with extra steps. People act like it's something, unique. It's like, no, it's just God, but you added a computer in there. There's no difference at all. Like the software team that created this universe might as well be God in this scenario. There's no difference whatsoever. What if we had religion based on simulation theory? I mean, what would the difference be? I don't know. It wouldn't be any less weird than any religion that doesn't already exist. There's no way it'd be weirder than Scientology or Mormonism, like whatever it would become. Own your bigotry. Loving the purple. Thanks so much. Fold laundry guy. I was worried there'd be too much purple in here, but I already have the shirt on, and so I'm not changing it. Have you watched Stargate? I watched the movie when I was a kid, like 13. I thought I'd really like it, and I only kind of liked it. I never watched the TV show. I like the Pharaoh with the white eyes. He was walking around with the white eyes and they were flashing and everything. I always thought that was pretty cool. But yeah, there's never too much purple. Should get that tattooed on my arm. Oh, thanks for that. Who sent the heart? Alex, my man. Thanks so much. Oh, thanks so much, Mark. Oh, there's Mark again. Yeah. Peace out, man. Appreciate the kind words. Ciao. Oh, we got an Italian speaker over here. Stargate is an amazing franchise. I never saw the show. That's a good way to sprinkle in the conversation to say goodbye in different languages, because most people will know what you're saying, You say ciao, auf Wiedersehen, sayonara. What's goodbye in France? In French, it's not bon voyage. Just have a good journey. Buongiorno. What is goodbye in France? Someone help me out. You're missing out, Stargate. It's Brian. Hasta luego. Spanish is a good one. Au revoir. There we go. Thank you. Yeah, it's slipped my mind. French is a good sounding language. All the Romance languages sound great. I mean, the ones that I've heard, at least. Like I've heard French, Italian, and Spanish. I've never heard Romanian, but I assume it sounds good too. I remember from Inglourious Bastards. Wait a minute. I imagine they spoke a lot of French in there. I like Inglourious Bastards where he kept making that one guy say his name over and over again, Dominic DeCoco. And when Brad Pitt's character was like, Buongiorno, that was pretty funny. That was a good flick. I liked Glorious Bastards. When the Colonel says goodbye to the Susanna, I think her name, it was like spelled. She was escaped. Oh, au revoir, Susanna. Yeah, I think I remember that now. But yeah, French is a good sounding language. You know, it's a bad sounding language. German. When I was a kid, I lived in Germany, and I didn't even know about World War II back then. You know, I just being around those Germans as like a 8-year-old, it was a terrifying sounding language. It was very rough. Do you agree there is more evidence for the devil than God? I'd say no. There's equal evidence for both, but um, I think that I don't know. It's like I think that if a God exists, it's evil, you know, in the sense that we understand it. That's all. I mean, if that would be the devil, like yes, like God being evil makes a lot more sense than God being good. You know, things make a lot more sense if you assume God exists and he's evil. Like I learned German because I was curious about a skit from a band tool. All right. Hello from Poland. Oh, what's going on? Your eyes trying to find each other. I don't know what that means at all. It's crazy how English is technically a Germanic language. Nothing to, yeah, that is. I remember learning that English and German are cousin languages, and it blew my mind because they don't seem similar at all to me. But yeah, they are. English, the closest language to English is Dutch, specifically a Dutch dialect called Frisian, and it sounds a lot like English in a lot of ways. But yeah, English and German are cousin languages. They both descend from like old Proto-Germanic. Hello, what's going on with the purple? I know, right? Yeah, people have been commenting on that. Yeah, another French word motif. I just happen to wear a purple shirt. My background light is purple, but there's a lot of cool couplets in English and French because of the French aristocracy ruling England for a few hundred years. So a lot of our foods are coupled like that. So the peasants would raise cows, an English word, but the nobles would eat beef, a French word. And the peasants would raise pigs, the nobles would eat pork. The peasants would raise calves, the nobles would eat veal. And there's a lot of cool things, birds like chickens and poultry. You know, it's kind of interesting. But like whenever you see like a Latin-based word in English, like illuminate or something, it almost certainly came from French. We Hebrew in serious problem. We have a serious problem in Dutch. Oh yeah, there you go. Yep. There's a line in there's like I remember learning it in Frisian Dutch. It's like gut Butter und gut cheese is gut English and good Fries. Like it sounds a lot. I mean, if you just listen to someone speaking Dutch or Frisian, you wouldn't understand it. There'd be a couple words here and there, but you can piece together words that make perfect sense. Even modern day French is mainly Parisian in origin. What do you mean? I mean, from Paris? Like, I don't know what you mean by that. I can't type apparently. I don't know. There's what I just thought there's another Dutch sentence. How does it go? It's like it's give me un clap papa. And that means spank me daddy in Dutch. So that's give me un clap papa. Yes, it was not spoken all over. Oh, it's a Parisian dialect. Okay, I see what you're saying. I know. Look it up. I'm not shitting you guys. If you go to Google Translate right now and type in "spank me, daddy" English to Dutch translation, it will say "give me un clap, papa." Power is taken, not given. Knows all the kink in Dutch. Listen. When you're a worldwide man like myself, you learn. I had to know what the Dutch girls were saying. So yeah. In Chinese, You are very sexy in Chinese is Ni Heng Jing Gan. You know what? You say that, but now that I started thinking, oh my God, I mean, look, when you go to a different country, you learn, hello, goodbye, where's the bathroom, and then you learn the swear words and like the kinky stuff. So Alex isn't wrong. A true citizen of the world. It's like I'm a proud representative of the United States of America. My Afrikaans spoken in South Africa is literally 1700s Dutch. Yeah. Do you think Ninja Turtles like water sports? I mean, I don't know. They live in the sewer. I mean, might as well. I remember a scene in the old Ninja Turtles cartoons when like Shredder has this vehicle he's pulling across the road and the turtles get in the way, and the turtles are yelling their puns at him, and they say, "Hey, Shredder, don't you know that pedestrians have the right of way?" And then Shredder says, "Pedestrians, yes. Amphibians, no." And then Donatello says, "For your information, we are reptiles." I've never forgotten that. That was that was a good show. I like that old Ninja Turtles cartoon, the one from the '80s. It's good. It is a good one. It is a good one. I heard it like 30 some years ago and I haven't forgotten it. This is pretty good. It's probably why most people of a certain age know amphibian. Hey, listen, I'm not saying that's why I know, but it definitely did help. Yeah, that's plus I can see why people would think turtles are amphibians. I mean, like sea turtles, I can see why people would think that. What are your experience or expectations of the debate coming up? Oh, so glad you asked that. Uh, the debate on Thursday, we will be live streaming on the Left Wing Pod. I'll be streaming it too on my YouTube channel, Powers Taken Not Given, live 9 p.m. Eastern time. I can't believe the debate's at 9 p.m. That is a crime. How are Biden and Trump staying up that late? I mean, they're going to be up till 11 p.m. You anyway, but I don't know. I think it will be boring because which I didn't really think about until today because there's no audience, which I like. I don't think there should be an audience. In fact, I don't think it. I don't know. I don't like the audience. I never have, and I think that it's taking away Trump's biggest strengths, which are demagoguing to the audience, demagoguery, and interrupting because they shut off the mics. Like the mics are muted whenever it's the other person's turn to speak. So Trump's not going to be able to, barge in and stuff. I think it works against Trump in every possible way. So I think it'll be a kind of a dull debate. And I don't know, like we'll see. I'm not expecting too much, but it could be. Sleepy Joe wants a nap. Sad, I know. Oh, that's a good point, Alex. Trump may always be up with the speed and everything. Just realized I don't know what an amphibian actually is. I know, yeah. So that's pretty funny. So I don't know what the actual definition of an amphibian is, but an amphibian is an animal that begins its life aquatic and breathing water. And maybe they don't all do that, but they can absorb air through like their skin when they're babies, but then they grow up and breathe oxygen, I think is what I think about frogs, and tadpoles. Like tadpoles breathe water and then they go through metamorphosis and then they breathe air. And reptiles never breathe water. It's funny how pop culture things stay in your brain. I sing Holla Back Girls. Yep. When you spell bananas, you sing Holla Back Girl. That one has something. Banana is a hard word to spell, so that one has help. That's true. Like when you sing songs, remember the presidents of the states or the capitals and everything. I guess that's not really pop culture. That's something they teach you in school. They're going to fall asleep while talking. Well, outside Trump won't be. Trump is going to. He may never sleep. They've gotten to the point where American people can't be in the audience. Well, I mean, I don't know. I've just never liked the audience clapping and everything and just extending the debate. Although, you know what? Without the audience, it might be a lot shorter. Like the audience interruptions. Like I don't like the congressman clapping during the State of the Union. It just prolongs the thing. I hate it so much. If you had to bet who dies first, Biden or Trump? Bonus bet, call it when it happens. That's funny. Wow. I don't know who I'd pick. I don't. Because Biden's like 3 or 4 years older, so you think you'd go with him. But Trump is just like, look at the guy. He's got like 300 something pounds, and he lives off Big Macs all the time. And I wouldn't be surprised if either one. I really don't know. The clapping reminds me of a talk show. I know, it's so awful. Oh, the backlash of the boys. Yeah, I've done a few videos on this, and I've been saying that Homelander's an obvious Trump. Is that a reference? No one has referenced the title of this live yet. This is the first time I've gone this long without anyone catching what I meant. This is the closest. Who's that? I can't. DA something ginger. Oh, the one's black ginger. I don't know, but it is a boys reference. Yeah, conservatives are just now figuring out that Homelander is a Trump parody. And I mean, I remember in season 2, it was like, man, he has like 5 or 6 direct Trump quotes already. And they had him with a taco bowls. They had him killing someone in Fifth Avenue, going to trial. They did a really funny ad where after Trump was selling his sneakers, that Homelander was selling a sneaker for his sham trial. And I don't know, some of them are arguing with me. And Eric Kripke, the creator of the show, has said that, yeah, of course he's a Trump parody, but I don't know. People are still upset about it. Conservatives have no media literacy skills. They just don't. Trump seems way unhealthy. Oh, well, I mean, than Biden. Yeah. Yeah, I think he's unhealthier, but Biden's older. So it kind of balances out, Like, I mean, I don't think Biden's going to live to be 100. I mean, he might, but he's just 3 or 4 years older is a big deal when you're already 79, Episode 4 was great. I wanted to title this episode "Get in the Oven, Frank," because I love that. I love that line, but I didn't want that. That title seemed a little ugh. I didn't want any weirdos in here. The first black ginger, and I didn't see the live title. All right. It's really hard to say irony inside of it. There are still conservatives who think born in the U.S. I know, right? Trump played Fortunate Son at one of his rallies. It's like, man, bro, like you're the person least. No one should play Fortunate Son. You certainly shouldn't play it. That line was pretty great, but it would be a bit of a sketch. Yeah, right? Yeah, I really wanted that because this is my favorite line from the episode. Get in the oven, Frank. It's for the build-up. But I was like, no, don't want to put it as a title. Don't. Homelander's amazing in that scene. He's amazing in that scene. Like when he's telling Frank how he remembers being, burned alive and watching Frank throwing the paper into the trash basket. And Frank says he doesn't remember it. Homelander's like, he says, it's funny, isn't it? How two people can remember the same instance completely differently. And his delivery is fantastic. Like that scene alone deserves an Emmy. Like I felt bad for Homelander, which very rarely happens. Like I almost never feel bad for Homelander, but that scene, I was rooting for Homelander so hard. Frank got exactly what he deserved. And yeah, you see why Homelander turned out the way he was. Reagan said he loved Bruce Lee. I know, right? I couldn't imagine working for Vought and not developing severe intestinal issues. Here's what I'm wondering about the scientists that experimented on Homelander as a child. The day that Homelander became CEO of Vought, why didn't they all quit? Like, I would have quit. I'd have changed my name, moved, whatever. Homelander would have to come find me, and it sure as hell wouldn't have been at work. Like, because they knew, right? Like, it was all in the news that Stan Edgar stepped down. Homelander's your boss now? Yeah, I'm out of there. I don't got Edgar to protect me? Yeah. No, for real. Like, it was an amazing scene. That was an amazing scene. I said it to my mom. I was like, Mom, like it's a show I don't think she'd like, but I was like, this is just good television right here. And she agreed. It was fantastic. How are you liking the Invincible series? I like Invincible a lot. I never read the comics or anything, but I do like the series a lot. It's better than The Boys. I like The Boys, but Invincible I think is better. That's capitalism. You need the job so bad you keep working, even though it's a danger. Listen, man, no paycheck is enough to make me work for a company where my CEO was someone I tortured as a child. No, especially if that person has superpowers. If it was a regular person, I wouldn't stick around for that job. But knowing that it's a, like a literal superhero who I threw in an oven, no, man, that's insanity. You're right. I'd have moved to the most northern Canadian. Right, man. Homelander would have to burn some calories to find me. There's no way I'd be sitting in the same office I was in when I tortured him for his entire childhood. I'd have disappeared to South America, not playing. Right, man. Yeah, man. I'd work in a zinc mine. Homelander can't see through zinc, right? He'd have to. I appreciate the likes, guys. People always say I try not to fall into social media creator cliches. Thanks for the support, guys. Make sure you like and subscribe. I try not to be that person, but I see all the hearts and it makes me happy. Thank you. The zinc thing cracks me up. Yes, I wonder if they ever plan it. You know what? They only used it once. They used it one scene, and that's when the boys hid Translucent's body. That's it. That's the only time they've used it. I want them to bring it back because it is just kind of, it's not random. It's just a parody of Superman and lead, but it's funny. I would have pulled a Howard Hughes and found out Homelander. Right, man. That's like the one part of the scene that bugs me because if I'm supposed to pretend this is real, no way in hell they still be working there. No way in hell. Not if, but when Homelander, right? Yeah. Man. I'd have plastic surgery done. I would have different hair color. I would just, man. To be fair, everyone outside the boys seemed to lack any common sense. Yeah, honestly, even with, right, you know what? Yeah, that's a good point. Even without him being the CEO, I would still be scared. Like the day Homelander graduated or whatever and left, then I would go. But then again, you knew that Homelander always did what Edgar said. And so I was like, okay, Edgar probably guaranteed their safety. And, Homelander's like 40 something years old. I was like, okay, but man, that's pushing it too. But assuming that the day Homelander actually became my boss, I'm gone. Like they raised the super soldier of the future and made him the face of God, those folks were evil, man. That's some terrible stuff. The other time I felt bad for Homelander was when Soldier Boy just oh no. Oh, okay. I thought I got kicked off my live again, but I just had to verify something. But like Homelander, like he has this deep gaping hole of inadequacy, and he finally finds out his dad is his childhood hero, and he wants nothing more than to hear his dad say he loves him and he's proud of him. And then Soldier Boy says, "Yeah, I think you're a disappointment. You're a disgrace. You're a coward." That's got to sting. Like, there's no superpower that can protect you from that. You know, where you finally meet someone you wanted to meet for decades, and it's your dad, and he just shits on you. That had to hurt. You know, those are the only 2 times I felt bad for Homelander. They really thought Homelander wouldn't make it down to the basement. Yeah, you think he forgot, folks? You think he forgot? You think he took control of VOD and is like, oh yeah, the first thing he won't do now that he's in charge is come execute me. Sure, that slipped his mind. Did you know the guy who plays Frenchie? Yeah, I heard about that, man. I heard about that. That's so sad to hear. He was a squad leader in the IDF. He fought in Lebanon, I think. His daddy doesn't love him, and he is losing his son. Yeah. If Anthony Starr doesn't, I know if he doesn't get an Emmy for that, man, that's wild. He deserves it. It's funny hearing Anthony Starr talk in his regular, like, New Zealand accent. It's kind of jarring. Trump still talks about his dad not being proud of him. It's the only time I feel. I actually haven't heard that too much. I haven't heard that. Trump talks about his uncle a lot. Have you guys caught this? He has an uncle named John Trump, who he talks about him all the time. He's like, I have a very brilliant uncle. He worked at MIT for many decades. He has 5 degrees, and it's the only person that I've heard him just throw compliments at all the time, and about how smart he is. I looked it up. He actually is. You look up John Trump. He has an impressive resume. You know, he was like a rocket engineer or something. Like the guy actually was, which makes it hard to believe he's related to Trump. But Trump always brings him up when he's trying to say that my uncle was very smart, very intelligent. Maybe I got some of that from him. And in fact, he brought it up in his story with the boats and the electricity and the sharks. He goes, and people think I'm smart, maybe because my connection to MIT is like, your uncle taught at MIT. You don't have a connection, but yeah. I also love Anthony Starr and Banshee. I haven't seen anything else. Only person he speaks proudly of that isn't Ivanka. Yeah. Did you hear the story where his family pretended Trump's dad was still CEO and had dementia? No, I haven't heard about that. No. The only Trump I like is Tiana. Oh, I don't know who that is. I'm not sure who you're talking about. Ginger, Black Ginger. That's a name I haven't heard before. And all the good Christians here on this live chat, they don't know either. Oh, thanks for the heart, Hannah. Every time it says gifter, I think grifter. Am I blushing? Well. It's funny because the name actually didn't. It took me. I was like, oh, okay, all right. I didn't know at first, and I was like, oh, that's right. That's how I know the name. That's how I know. Cheeks got a little rosy. Ah, shucks. Excuse me. I think A-Train will die this season on The Boys. He has to, right? He has to. A-Train keeps. I mean, you can only screw over Homelander so many times, right? And run around his apartment, leaving your fingerprints and your scent in it. Yeah, it's over for A-Train. I think A-Train will die this season. I think the Deep will live, and I have like a far cast bet that Deep will be the only surviving person of the 7. I think that I think it'd be very funny if the Deep was the last one standing. That'd be very funny to me. I just graduated college, but I realized meeting people in college or graduated, they still lost it. What? Oh, you lost the sauce. Absolutely, A-Train's gonna die. They're just now developing his character, so it makes sense. I don't know. I think they've been developing A-Train for a while. I mean, like last season, he had a lot of character development, I thought, but he has come farther now. Like he's he's borderline good guy now, and so he either would have to join the boys or die. And I can't. And A-Train is too. You can't have A-Train on the boys. It's too much. I think it tips the power too strongly in the boys category to have someone like A-Train. So I think he's got to go. And he's just too reckless. And especially Sage is going to catch him. He's going to die. I've been seeing way too much date right stuff in my. I don't know what that means. Season 5 finale with Deep is a new. Yeah, listen. The Deep is living. I hope so. It'd be so funny. He's such a pathetic character. He cracks me up. He's like, A-Train's got to be a goner, right? He's got to be. I can't imagine. They can't keep doing this thing where, A-Train's sneaking around. He's been sneaking around for 3.5 seasons now. It's curtains for A-Train. He had his like quasi redemption when he avenged his brother's death. He got Blue Hawk's heart. And now he's helping out the boys even more than before. It's over. It's over. Oh, Date Right Stuff is some right-wing dork. Oh, and he's the guy who clips ice cream and spring. I have no idea who that is. It just seems like the writing is aiming for his. It is, man. It is. A-Train and Ashley squaring off in Homelander's apartment. Okay, it was. But that scene didn't sit well with me for a lot of reasons. First, because Homelander could come back any minute. I mean, did they even know where Homelander went? Did he say, hey, guys, I'm going to go to the lab where I was tortured as a child. I'll be there for exactly 4 hours. So just so you know, they don't know. Homelander can show up anytime he wants. And then he's zipping around his apartment, and Homelander's already established he has super smell because Ryan walked in, and he's like, oh, I smell Billy Butcher on you. You don't think he's going to smell A-Train and Ashley in there? And the floater in Homelander's toilet, he's not going to know who that came from? I don't know. And even if it wasn't that, how do you know Homelander doesn't have cameras there? You're leaving. A-Train wasn't even wearing gloves. It's okay. It was so reckless. Like, you deserve any punishment you get after that. Let's see. TV shows can keep a storyline going a long time. Yeah, but then it's bad though. And like Eric Kripke's a really good showrunner. I can't imagine him pushing this too much longer. You're lucky, although you probably have fun bullying him. Why would you leave a floater? Yes, even if he makes sure he didn't literally. That's funny. It was funny, but I was very weird all around. I need to watch episode 5. Did A-Train even flush it? Yeah, I hope he did. Like, I hope he did. I didn't hear it, but agreed. He can smell and read thoughts. Way too dangerous. I was just wondering where all the milk came from. Oh, I imagine he kept it from, what's her name? Stillwell. I mean, I imagine that's hers. I don't know. I don't think you'd have like a special place for like someone else's breast milk, you know? Do I really think what, Bailey? The Louisiana 10 Commandments, I know, right? That's so funny. That's just so funny. I like to ask people if they can name the 10 Commandments whenever they say they're important, because people don't know what they are. They can't name them. That's always fun. They can always tell you like the easy ones: thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not kill. They usually say thou shalt not lie, although the actual commandment is thou shalt not commit, or thou shalt not bear false witness. They might get adultery and they might get covet, but then they start waffling. They don't know, because most of the commandments, or 4 of them, have nothing to do with morality at all. They're all about have no other gods before me, no graven images, don't take God's name in vain. Remember the Sabbath to keep it holy, which most of them don't do because the Sabbath is Saturday. It's not Sunday. I don't know. It's just funny. Someone made an illustration of Homelander beating Omni-Man. Have you watched Baby Reindeer? No, I don't know who it is. Was it even funnier? The 10 Commandments are different for yeah, you know what? I was an adult before I knew that. The Catholic 10 Commandments is absurd. It's the first commandment is, I am the Lord your God who led you out of Egypt. That's it, which is not a commandment at all. It's a declarative statement. And they do it so they don't have to add the second commandment, which is thou shalt not make any graven images, because the Catholic Church loves their graven images. So yeah, the Protestant one makes a lot more sense to me. There's more than one like group of 10 commandments in the Bible too. The Bible never says the term 10 commandments. It never says that. But that there's the tablets, but Moses breaks the first tablet. And the second tablet he actually brings down is a different list of commandments. And that's where the 10th commandment says, you shall not boil a baby goat in its mother's milk. I know, it's like, it's weird. Yeah, so there's, are there more than 10? So, damn, my throat. Sorry. The 10 commandments refer to what's written down on the tablets, whichever version it is. But the actual laws of the Old Testament are like 600 of them. I am worried the higher courts are going to uphold the Louisiana law. I'd kind of be surprised if that happened, honestly. I would. Even from this court, I'd be surprised. I mean, Stan Lee said the winner is whoever that's true. I see people, that's so weird, right? When people say Catholics aren't Christians, I have seen people say that. It's like, they're the first Christians. Like, we had a joke, and when I was in college, Bible college, was we were Baptist, but you study church history, the farther you go back, the more Catholic it becomes. I mean, it's like, not just the goat and mother's milk, but frankly, we don't get enough ibex in our diet. Because there's heavy Protestant influence in American Christianity. Excited about the debate. My gamble is Biden. I honestly think the debate will be kind of boring. I do. I think it's designed to be boring because it's in Biden's favor. Because Trump wanted the debate, and that's how you know who's losing. The person who wants the debate is always the person who's losing. So Trump knew that he needed a good performance. And Biden said, okay, I'll accept the debate under these conditions. And the conditions were, among other things, no audience and no mic, and the mics were muted when you weren't talking. And Trump accepted it, which is another reason, Trump thinks he's behind. Because if Trump thought he was ahead, if Trump thought he was winning, he wouldn't debate. You know why I know? 2 reasons. First, because that's a smart thing to do. And second, it's what he did during the Republican debates. He didn't bother debating in the Republicans because he knew he was going to win. He doesn't know he's going to win this one. So that's why he accepted Biden's demands. Let's see. The right wing changes. Oh, well, the Lulux land are still anti-Catholic. They're still very much anti-Catholic. That hasn't changed. Certain Southern Baptists are saying they don't need creeds, but they have the Bible. Yeah, so the creed, that was interesting. So the Southern Baptist Convention, they had a vote on whether or not they were going to say the Apostles' Creed, which I was like, what? Because I was a Baptist. I don't know the Apostles' Creed or the Nicene Creed. I don't know the Nicene Creed. I mean, I've seen it written, but it was never a big deal for Baptists. And so I was surprised they even voted on it all because it was never part of like Baptist tradition. And they voted it down at a close vote, so they still don't do it. But they still like use the Pledge of Allegiance all the time, which is just ironic that they're like, yeah, the Nicene Creed, not so much. Pledge of Allegiance, yes. So that is pretty funny. It's weird to see American Catholics become guys. I'm so sorry. My throat is killing me. It's weird to see American Catholics become more like evangelicals. Are they? I didn't know that. True, but based on their base writing, Omni-Man went. I don't know. I have Christians who say I'm spiritual, not religious. There are people who just don't want to defend the bad stuff the Bible says. I don't know. My throat is just like, man. No, it wasn't actually. I came and sat down and realized, like, oh, that's a lot of purple here. But nah, I was already. It's crazy how the Law and Order Party is pushing for the felony president. Yeah, it is funny. There was a funny image from today, I think, where Trump was at an airport shaking hands with all these cops. Like, yeah. Channeling your inner prince. You know what I found out the other day? So I keep finding out new surprising things about Prince. The older I get, I remember when I was in college, I found out that Prince's first name is actually Prince. That was funny. I have this thing where I like to find out people's real names versus their stage names. They're interesting. I was sure Prince was a stage name. Nope, that's his real name. Also, the Dave Chappelle sketch where Prince is a good basketball player. Also true. Prince was an all-state basketball player in high school. And I found this out. This is the new one I found out. Maybe you guys are new. I knew Prince wasn't a large man. You could see him on stage. You guys know how tall Prince was? I'd have guessed Prince was like 5'7" or something. Prince was 5'2". 5'2". I couldn't believe. I saw like some high school scouting report, and it said, Prince Nelson Rogers. I think that's his full name, but it said 5'2". And then I looked it up, 5'2". And I said, listen, I don't want to hear short guys complain about not being able to get with women ever again. Now, granted, you're not Prince, whatever, but 5'2", stunned. No way. Look it up. Look it up right now. I swear to God, Prince was 5'2". Let's see. And a good basketball player. So, wow, yeah. Great musician, great basketball player. Notorious Lothario, popular with the ladies and with the gentlemen, 5'2". Purple's a good color. Thank you. It is my favorite color. It is my favorite color. A lot of compliments on the purple. Thanks. I saw Prince 5 times in concerts. I wish I saw him. Yeah. Manlets are seething right now. Charlie Murphy told a funny. Yeah. I mentioned that earlier. That story is true. Prince confirmed it. Eddie Murphy confirmed it. And Prince was a all-state basketball player in high school at 5'2". All-state basketball player. Dude must have been a hell of a shooter. Or maybe he could jump out of the building. I don't know. Prince was the original Muggsy Bogues. Muggsy Bogues is wild. For those of you who don't know, Muggsy Bogues was an NBA player for like 12 years. He was in the NBA, 5'3". Muggsy Bogues is shorter than probably all of you listening right now, all the guys at least. And 5'3", and had, a very successful. He started for a long time. He wasn't like a 12th man in the NBA team. He guarded Michael Jordan a few times. 5'3", man. Yeah, he was in Space Jam. He was a very good basketball player. I think he's the shortest person to ever play in the NBA. Purple is regal. It's true. Man, I have seen 6-foot women with men who are way shorter than by a lot. Yeah, I've seen it. Shout out to Spud Webb. Spud Webb was 5'7" and played in the NBA, won a slam dunk competition. Yeah, Muggsy is 5'3", Spud Webb is 5'7". I'm trying to get a WNBA wife. To be that short, make the NBA, he has to be insanely good, right? He got to be incredible. Remember the three guys that were about 7'7"? George Mirasan, Sean Bradley, and Manute Bol were all around 7'7". I think they all played around the same time. Hi, well up. I think the ghost of Vader trying to force choke you, my guy. Oh, I know. Have you followed in the Caitlin Clark stuff? I mean, not really. I mean, I've heard a lot about it, but I haven't watched any WA games. I just heard, a lot of stuff. Muggsy Bogues also had a great cameo in Curb Your Enthusiasm. Oh, yeah. I never watched Curb Your Enthusiasm. I think I've seen that clip. Oh no, did I do that? Every day I see you, I fight the urge to call you Anthony Anderson. Yeah, I get that a lot. I have I went to college to be a teacher. I have a history degree, and I have a master's in HR management. Did Kendrick play Not Like Us fight? Yeah, that was funny. Man, could you imagine? I've seen a lot of squabbles and rap beefs and rivalries. I've never seen anyone win a rivalry as outright as Kendrick Lamar has won against Drake. I mean, can you imagine like having a problem with somebody and like a very public dispute, and you get a stadium of like 30,000 people chanting about how your rival is a pedophile? People around the globe are yelling this. Like I saw like a Pakistani wedding or something, and people are playing Not Like Us and just chanting, trying to strike a chord that's probably A minor. No one has ever been defeated as fantastically as Drake has been defeated in this. That is just, man, this is like, where do you go from now if you're Drake? Like, what do? You can't just show back up to work and start doing stuff when the whole country is singing about how you like them young. Oh, that's Kendrick. The guy's already dead. You don't got to keep beating him. I'm in Los Angeles, but had to travel for work, and I missed that concert, and I'm sad. I've never liked Drake at all. His songs been making my heart flutter. The red and blue came together just to hate Drake. I know, man. It's just, wow. That's rough. That is rough. BBL Drizzy being played at all the concert. BBL Drizzy's great. In fact, BBL Drizzy caught me off guard because I wasn't paying too much attention to the Drake and Kendrick beef in the first place. People kept that, but then I was like, okay, wait, BBL Drizzy. Well, who is what does that mean? I had no clue what it was in reference to at all. I also didn't know Drake was beefing with Metro Boomin. I didn't know who Metro Boomin was. And then I was like, okay, the song's catchy, but I don't know what it means. But then I found out the story about it, and I was like, oh, okay, I get it now. But yeah, I get it. I have Francis Ngannou. I get Anthony Anderson. I get Francis Ngannou. I get the guy who played Eddie Winslow. I get some football player I can't think of. There's a TikToker, like the Gen Z guy who looks like he's 45. I don't think I look like him, but I got him a couple of times. Yeah, I apparently look like a lot of people. Now, the Anthony Anderson one I get, I do look like Anthony Anderson. When I was young, I got Eddie Winslow all the time. I don't think I kind of look like Francis Ngannou. I don't think I look like him all that much, but God, I can't remember that football player that people say I look like too. But now you have visual to go with the song. It's crazy. You can sign autographs and the name. I look like Anthony Anderson, but I look too young, I think, to Anthony Anderson. Like, he's clearly older than me, but I don't know. Maybe like his cousin or something. I think you. Thanks so much, Steve Cypher. That's right. I look like me. Yes, I look like TJ. When I was a kid, though, I got called Eddie Winslow all the time. In fact, I was called Eddie Winslow like a couple months ago at a courthouse, but I can't remember the guy's name. Darren something that plays Eddie Winslow, I think. Darius McCrary, thank you. I couldn't remember. Well, I can't say that because Anthony Anderson was here before me. So, did you prefer Fresh Prince or Family Matters? I didn't really watch Fresh Prince all that much. I caught it on occasion, but I watched Family Matters more, I think. Fresh Prince, I'd say, is a better show, but it just wasn't. I didn't love it as much as most people did. And it wasn't bad. I'm not saying that. I just didn't. How did you find the background lavender? I wouldn't call this lavender. It's a little dark to be lavender. That's lavender, but this is a little bit dark. Will Smith is now older than Uncle Phil. Yeah, weird. Drake spent all these years cosplaying other black people and never learned that we don't play. Yeah, man. Yikes. I can't, you know what? I can't believe Drake has been the most popular hip hop artist of the last like decade or so. I think Drake's music is okay. There's a couple of Drake songs I like, maybe like two, and a whole bunch I don't like. But I mean, I can get why people like him, but to be one of the largest like stars in music history, I have no idea. Like, half of Drake's songs sound exactly the same to me. And I don't know. Each song sounds just as boring as the last. Like, We Will Make Time to Read You, and Kendrick reread and then wrote a whole new book. It was a hard word to spell, misogyny. There's too many Y's. I'm typing out a YouTube thumbnail here, and I keep thinking it's G-I-N-Y, but it's G-Y-N-Y. It looks strange. Drake has more appeal to women, even though he doesn't like us. Drake was for many years the most streamed artist, period. Yeah. Drake, it's wild. Oh no, where'd it go? Ah. He fumbled Riri, Serena. Well, yeah, I mean, it's hard to say that people like that fumbled anyone because those relationships never last in the first place. I mean, Yeah, how many like giant celebrity relationships make it? I mean, some do, but you don't expect them to. This cake gonna make you show up. I know you seen this glow up. This BBL jersey. BBL jersey. BBL jersey. BBL jersey. Don't act like you don't know me. These hands deserve a trophy. Baby, it ain't no mystery. Got the best BBL. Paul Newman and Joanne Woodward. The key is salad dressing and coming to understand. I remembered him from Degrassi. It was so, you know what? That is so funny because the first time I saw Drake was when he did that Sprite commercial, back when he was like 20 something years old, and last name ever, first name greatest. And my little sister sitting next to me, she goes, "Oh, that's the guy from Degrassi." I said, "What?" And then there's the show she watched, I think on the Disney Channel or something, Degrassi, The Next Generation, where I saw like a 16-year-old Drake. I'm like, "Oh, all right, come." How did you find interest in history? I've just always liked it. I don't know. I can't point to a moment where I started liking history. I don't remember not liking history. You can't narrow down your interest besides everything that's ever happened. That's funny. Yeah, I don't know. I've always liked it. I always like history and literature. But who doesn't like stories, though? That's why I never understood bad history teachers. You're just storytelling, man. Like everybody likes stories. There isn't a human being on earth who doesn't like hearing stories of some sort. It's like hardwired in us. So I would like see these history teachers that were just horrible at it. And I was like, man, that not everyone's a good storyteller, but if you're a history teacher, you should be. What are you there for anyway? I don't know. My dad was an accountant and he preferred stories and yeah. Need more takes on why Jed Bartlett is the worst president. I didn't say he was the worst. He was like my number 3. So user 192, I appreciate you watching I assume you watched our president's video. The one conspiracy I believe is that they make history boring, so we don't want. I never thought about that. I don't think that. There's just a lot of bad teachers. There's just a really lot of bad teachers. So there's plenty of good ones, but the West Wing is the one show that really makes me angry. Yeah. I talked about that. Like the West Wing gave people this impression that you could shut down bigots with facts and reason. No, you can't. In art school, all they did was tell us to figure out the story. What is it? Yeah, it's great. It is important to do that. Like what I enjoy is like talking about complex topics. And I always said that the best sign of a communicator is if you can take a complex topic and explain it to a third grader. And that's it. Like, I don't like, what I really hate? This is a pet peeve of mine. I hate when teachers use teacher speak when they're talking to kids and like, okay, class, today we are going to talk about atoms. Atoms are comprised of electrons, protons, and neutrons. No, you don't need to speak like that. And they talk to not only kids like that, they will speak to like 11th graders that way. It's like, these people speak English. You don't have to do this. So the way I talk to you guys is the exact same way I talk to children. Exact same way. I've tried it plenty of times. I taught Sunday school classes. I did substitute teaching for elementary schools. For a long time, I dated a girl who had like a 4-year-old. Talk to him just like I talk to you. It works. They don't need to be spoken to like they're dogs. You can talk to them the same. And here's the thing. the only difference I do when I like present a class to like elementary school students, whatever, the only difference between the way I talk to them and the way I talk to you is I use a lot more jokes, which is fine. And I might not use as many big words, but I don't even alter that so much. Like, let's say I use a word that kids wouldn't probably know. Like, say I use the word obsequious, which they probably don't know. They can figure it out through context. Once again, they've been speaking English for like 10 years now. So if I say, I upset my mom, so I made sure that I acted in a very, obsequious manner, and I was just doing everything she asked, and I followed all her rules, and I was complimenting her. They can kind of get a good idea of what obsequious means. Like they can. And so I can't stand that when people talk to kids in this voice. It's patronizing, and you don't need to do it. And people do it. I don't know. That's one of my pet peeves. I can't stand that. Just like talk to them. People know when they're being condescended to. They know. Some of the best advice I've ever got, or I didn't get this advice, I saw it. It was from Christopher Hitchens. I did not know Christopher Hitchens, but he was talking about how he writes articles. He wrote for The Nation magazine, and he said what he does when he writes is he pretends he's writing a letter to his smartest and funniest friend. That's how he writes it, because when you do that and you respect the intelligence of your audience, they can feel that. They can tell that they know that you expect them to get this reference or know this word or get this joke. And even if they don't, they'll fucking appreciate it. That people want to feel like they're smart. This is something that a lot of speakers don't understand. A public speech, a presentation, it's not about you. It's about your audience. It's the simplest thing imaginable, but people are just obsessed. They're consumed about how they look and how they feel. Who cares how you feel? If you want the audience to listen to you, you change how they feel. It's not even counterintuitive, but people can't seem to figure this out. And it's the same when you're talking to, someone who's 30 years old or someone who's 15 or someone who's 6. It doesn't matter. As long as your subject knows you respect them, they will listen to you. It's very easy, but you come up there and you speak like that, you're going to shut them off. You shut them off. I can't stand it. And I hear so many people defend it. Like, well, you got to understand. No, you don't. Nope. I've done this plenty of times. Man, maybe you should get better at speaking if you have to do that for your audience to understand you. I don't. I'll pass. Sorry, I went on that rant there, but that's kind of my... Aaron Sorkin, though, is very good in courtroom drama. Mm-hmm. Every kid that looks Sunday school class with his took Sunday school class without a communist. Children pick up a lot. It definitely works. Yeah, man, it is. I've had a lot of people really kick back against me on that, and I will go to my grave with this. This is why I don't like Neil deGrasse Tyson, because Neil deGrasse Tyson talks this way. Like Neil deGrasse Tyson will mention, you see, our solar system used to have 9 planets, but now it only has 8. You see, Pluto is classified as a dwarf planet. Pluto does not have enough mass to actually count in our new standard of planet. Did you know Pluto is actually smaller than the moon? Like, okay, buddy, stop talking like that. I understand you want to convey the wonder of the universe, but you do not have to speak to us like you're speaking to a 4-year-old. And it's not. I just don't like the way he presents. I know a lot of people do, but I feel like he's talking down to us, and he is. I mean, yeah, you would. I'm not saying that obviously you guys and me, we don't know astrophysics like Neil deGrasse Tyson, but let's see. I think the ADHD made it hard to get into history. I had a MAGA bully moment. In high school, the teachers that students liked the most were the ones that just, right. It's not difficult, folks. It ain't difficult. But I guarantee you guys were sophomores that had teachers talk to you this way. Whew. The fact Neil deGrasse Tyson had to do a video saying Terrence Howard doesn't know math. I hate to say it, but I struggle listening to Martin Luther King. Have you heard my videos on Preacher Voice, Aaliyah? Have you heard that? I can't stand Preacher Voice either. I can't stand preacher voice, man. I hate it. And like it's effective in a lot of ways, but there's something just so like transparently inauthentic. That's what I would call preacher speak. It's like, okay, you're putting on a show and you're making it very obvious you're putting on a show. I don't like that. Like, talk to me. Like, you don't go home and talk to your wife and kids that way. This is just how you're presenting. I don't like it at all. Agreed, but it should have been obvious when he says it. Yeah, I never watched the Terrence Howard clip. I don't know. What's your opinion on the new? Yeah, we talked about that a little bit. It's just signaling. Like, I don't even think this Supreme Court would uphold that. I think it's already been struck down before, but it's just a way to, galvanize people who think the 10 Commandments are a good idea. And it's dumb, of course, but. I also think it's funny that most Christians couldn't tell you the 10 Commandments. Like 90% of them couldn't list them all to you. But yeah, preacher speak, and it bothers me because preacher speak is so common with black politicians, civil rights leaders, and Martin Luther King, and of course they try to emulate him and everything. It's I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. Terrence Howard got a peer review from Neil Tyson and his hands. I hate this. I don't know. The Neil deGrasse Tyson thing with Terrence Howard doesn't interest me at all. I don't know. I don't even know too much about it. Those two politicians in Tennessee, they do the preacher speak thing too, and it bugs me. I don't like it. Well, today we have a lot of. It's been a long journey. Oh, stop it. I don't like it at all. And the Lord said you got to rise up. I don't know. It's just, I don't like that. And then also, like, I don't like the mixing of church and state. I don't like that, preachers get away with this, or politicians, or black churches. It's not just black churches. It's every church. Every church is political. Like it's not supposed to be, but they all are. And we put on this farce that churches aren't political, and they just. This is actually one place where Democrats are incredibly hypocritical, because Democrats, like, to your average Democrat, there's no one more reprehensible than your, gun-toting, pickup truck driving, church attending white Christian, and I'd agree with them. But then he's like, oh, this is gathering a black church. Oh, what a great show of no, like, black churches shouldn't be political either. And I get that black church is a big part of the community, but there's a separation of church and state that doesn't only exist for, it doesn't exist at all. Like, all churches are political, like I say, but black churches don't even pretend to be not political. So I just don't like it at all. Let's see. Justin Johnson. Yes. And Pearson, it's sad because yeah, right. Their politics are great, but I don't like the putting on the accoutrements of church and mixing it with the state. That's very much against the rules. Your impression made me laugh out loud. I didn't even the church speak. Yeah. Same. Yeah. With news agencies. I don't know what that means. Oh, news agencies are political. Is that what you mean? Yeah, they absolutely are. The videos from Trump at that black church in Detroit were funny, though. They kept playing these clips of Trump at the black church, and there's like 14 black people there on stage, and the crowd is nothing but white people. I think it's for the optics that, the Republicans keep saying that Trump's getting the black vote, and every time he does an event for black people, there's like no black people there. That's like in the Bronx, there was no black people. At the black church, there's no black people. It's like, yeah, I'm starting to think that you guys are making up this Trump support from the black community thing. Will there ever be another party switch? Of course, eventually. Don't know when, but do you have thoughts on the Teamsters president addressing the Army? I haven't heard about that. Or the ones there are hired. I mean, some of them are hired, but some of them actually work for Trump, like that lady who hugged him at Chick-fil-A. She's been at a lot of his events. I'm sure some are genuine Black Republicans. It's just like not a whole lot of them. Trump went to the same Bronx. Johnny claims she from. Oh, Jenny, not Johnny. Yeah, that's funny. Slugs for salt. Yeah. Where's the Blacks for Trump guy? I haven't seen him in a while. I don't think I've seen him all year, actually. I haven't seen the shirt or anything. The Blacks for Trump guy. He's like a Hebrew Israelite or something weird like that. Those folks are. Whew. The guy who Trump said, "Look, I'm African American." Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, I remember that. I'm pretty sure Black for Trump guy was at the. Oh, was he? Okay, I didn't see his shirt. Usually, I see the shirt, and everything behind Trump, but I didn't see him. Don't know what that guy's up to these days. He's got like a spotty history. He's like been to prison and everything. Terrence Howard sent Tyson a 36. Oh my God. I love that Blacks for Trump are always. Yeah, I know, right? That's why I was surprised because he's always behind Trump when he speaks, and I haven't seen him. Yeah. Is Ben Carson going to help Trump? Listen, everyone has abandoned me on this. I'm still sticking with Ben Carson as Trump's VP pick. It's too perfect. It's too perfect. All right. Like, it's a decision that doesn't make sense, really. Even the reason I gave why he would be good for Trump is that the only logical pick for Trump's VP is Nikki Haley. It's the only VP pick that would actually help him. None of them are really going to help them. Nikki Haley would be an incredible boost for Donald Trump because she's the person who managed to wrangle the most support other than Trump. And people be like, okay, we don't like Trump, but if Trump dies in the next 4 years, which not outside the bounds of possibility, we could have someone that we have actual confidence in that we want to be president anyway. Like, she would unite the party more than anyone else, but which is exactly why he's not going to pick her. He doesn't want someone that could possibly upstage him. And like Doug Burgum, he picked for the money, but I think he just likes Ben Carson. That's it. Like, he likes Ben Carson. I'm not convinced he likes everyone else. Like JD Vance and Doug Burgum and all these folks, they spent a long time trashing Trump when they thought he was down years ago. I think Trump's going to remember that. I don't think he's going to reward people who talk bad about him. Ben Carson's his buddy. Like, why is Ben Carson on this list in the first place? There's no way any political advisor said, hey, your VP should be some guy who was your like HUD secretary, ran for president 8 years ago, went nowhere, that nobody gives an F about. That's a horrible VP pick. The fact that he's on the list in the first place makes me think he's going to pick him. I don't know, but and I never saw a Cuba Gooding Jr. by Ben Carson movie. I did a book report on Ben Carson like 30 years ago. I did a book report on Gifted Hands when I was like in 6th grade or something. So it's wild that Ben Carson is actually like one of the greatest brain surgeons who's ever lived. It's insane that he's an idiot everywhere else, but yeah. Didn't know about that movie though. Tim Scott is apparently courting billionaires. Yeah, Tim Scott. Oh, yeah, listen, Tim Scott's definitely not going to get it. But it's funny he wants. It's so embarrassing. Ugh. You guys keep talking about this Tyson thing. You can, but I'm not gonna. I have nothing to say about the Tyson Terrence Howard thing. I don't think the Black Republican thing matters at all. I don't think it'll make any difference. I just don't. Like, you're not going to win more Black votes with a Black Republican, and Trump supporters are still going to vote for Trump, Black VP or not. So I don't think it has any effect whatsoever. Except that the Republicans get the gloat. They will love that. They will be like, look at that. We got a Black VP. Looks like we ain't racist after all. That's the only benefit Republicans would get, But I don't think it changes like the electoral vote. I think the only vice president pick that actually makes a difference would be Haley, and he's not going to pick her. Ben Carson breaks the stereotype that he does. Gifted Hands, yep. It's hard to believe it's the same guy. It's true. A lot of people read Gifted Hands. Look at that. Christy Noem still doubling and quadrupling over the dog thing. Whew, wow. Yeah, she's out of contention. That is even Donald Trump is Christy Noem. So look, the only one that could help him is Nikki Haley. The only one that could hurt him is Christy Noem. I think she's the only one that could actually hurt him. Everyone else is a wash, I believe. Oh, look, I know a lot of people are commenting. I just don't care about Terrence Howard. I just don't. I've seen a lot of videos and people like, all right, I don't know. I got nothing to. I didn't even hear what Terrence Howard said. I heard him say like the 2+2 thing. I was like, yeah, okay. And Neil deGrasse Tyson lowering himself by getting involved in that. I got the people rolling around after midnight under the ground. You really think you can take a dude got shot 5 times? God, I love when you guys bring up stuff from those videos. It's so funny. Rutherford B. Hayes. The dude's tough. That was funny. Thank you for that. Have you ever seen 538, an economist model saying Trump is most likely to win? Yeah, I don't know. Actually, the 538 one I saw was popular, was like a national average, which doesn't mean anything, but I'll look at the model by state. I don't think Trump has much of a chance. I just don't. People think I'm being optimistic. I mean, that's just from what I read. And from what I know and I've seen, I just can't imagine Trump winning. I just can't. I mean, I'm not telling people don't take it seriously. Listen, whenever I say this stuff, people are like, hey, don't say this until I take it. First off, who do you think I am? You think people are basing whether they're going to vote or not on what I say and how optimistic I am? Like, come on. It's insanity. I'm just saying that people are going to take it seriously. Trump won in 2016 because he caught people off guard. Enough folks didn't like Hillary Clinton, and no one thought Trump was going to win. No one took it seriously, and it turns out he won. Ever since then, people have taken Trump very seriously, and they will. Like, a lot of people who are just normal folk don't love Joe Biden, but they don't want Trump as president. Like, they don't. And so, like, the presidency is going to be won by your independent voters. It's not going to be won by Democrats or Republicans, and independent voters don't like Trump. And so, yeah, I just don't see it happening. Have you seen TikTok content from Blackout and Dr. Andre? No. They call Red Wave in 2022. Yeah. I was looking at a poll in Arizona. Like, the poll averages had Carrie Lake winning by like 6 points. And there's somewhere else too. It was the Arizona governor and the Arizona Senate. They had the Republicans winning by like 4 to 6 points. They lost both times. And like, yeah, I don't know. I think the Republicans and the goofier and more insane Trump gets and the convictions and everything, and the more messaging that's put out about how Republicans really love abortion restrictions. And all the money that Trump is taking. Trump just hired Charlie Kirk to do his voter outreach, which is very funny because Charlie Kirk, his whole thing is getting young people to vote Republicans, which I don't know if you guys remember last election, like 75% of all young people in the country voted blue. And Charlie Kirk's home state, Arizona, had some of the worst. I think it was the worst. It was the worst percentage of like 18 to 25 voters voting blue more than red. And he's in charge of the voting outreach. It's like enough. And he's taking a ton of money from the Republicans to pay for his court cases, which means he's just robbing down ballot votes. I don't think it's going to be good for Republicans. I don't know. I'll check back with you guys, second week in November. I just don't see it. I think the closer it gets, the more of a reality. Yeah, yes, that's true, Leah. Like the closer it gets, people, it's weird. Like, I remember when I was a kid or a young man, I was like, how do we have undecided voters in October? How is it October? You haven't made your choice yet. In fact, I don't really believe people who say they're undecided voters in October. I don't believe them at all. I think they're looking for attention. I've always thought this, but now I'm backing it up. I mean, now in July of 2024, I don't believe you either. I just don't. If you're going to vote, you already know who it's going to be for by now. I don't think it was changing their mind about Trump and Biden. You already. People base their entire personality on Chapo Trap House. What? Let's see. They take you seriously. Well, I hope not. Can Trump even survive? Yeah, I mean, it probably will. Be funny if the funniest scenario would be if neither of them make it. That'd be pretty funny. You and him have similar content. Me and who? I can't wait till Biden outperforms during the debate and everyone says it's because he's checked up. Sup, Grimace? What's going on? Did you guys ever see those? It was like last year, maybe the year before. There was that TikTok trend with the Grimace shakes. People would be drinking a Grimace shake and then it would black out and then it'd show like a murder scene and the Grimace shake was. Those are creepy and weird. I haven't seen those in a while, but uneducated voters are not very. Yeah. Do you think Kamala Harris would be a good president? No. I mean, she wouldn't. She'd be a lot like Biden. I imagine she'd be a lot like Biden. So I guess. I mean, she'd be adequate. I imagine. I don't think. I think she'd be just like any other Democrat. I don't think she'd be all that different. There's only. I can think of a few politicians that would actually be like. I would say, oh, they would. I think they would do a good job. I think Harris would probably be a lot like Biden or Newsom or Buttigieg or 90% of the other Democrats. I honestly forgot Kamala's VP. Well, you know what? That's actually a step up because, like, early in the first couple of years, I thought Kamala Harris was just embarrassing. I mean, every time I saw her talk, she sounded like she was high. I'm not joking. Like, people were like, no, she did. She was rambling. It really felt like, remember that time she was doing that weird Wheels on the Bus Go Round Around song? But lately, I mean, what I've seen for her just seemed pretty normal. So, yeah, I haven't had any Kamala Harris complaints lately. I mean, there was a thing with the ceasefire, but I mean, that's the administration's position. What else is she going to do? So, yeah, my opinion of Harris has actually gone up over the last year. Jon Stewart is Jon Stewart would he would win, and I think he would be like the best choice for the Democrats. I hate saying that because he's someone that would, like, the left would unite behind him, and normal people like Jon Stewart. He's funny, he's interesting, he's smart. I think he would crush anyone on the Democratic side and Republican as well. Like, yeah, if I could force someone to run president, it would be Jon Stewart. And once again, not saying he'd be a great president. I don't know, but he'd be just as good as any other Democrat, and he would win. So, yeah. Newsom, same category with Harris. I think that, yeah, like, dresses the same, be more the same. Harris did get in the worst issue. Well, that's not her fault either. Because look, when you're vice president, that's your job. Your job is to take on the issues the president doesn't want to touch. So they do it to vice presidents all the time. And look, you sign up for the job. You want to be president one day. You gotta, you gotta take the shit I don't want to do. So Biden immediately put Harris on the border. So she has to go out there and talk about the least popular positions Biden has and take the heat for it. That's part of the gig. So, yeah. Democrats have a great cabinet, expansive experience. You think you just fell off a coconut tree? What? Stewart versus Carlson. Well, yeah, Stewart would destroy Carlson. Michelle Obama. Yeah, I think Michelle Obama will probably win too. The Harris quote of the coconut tree. All right. I'd probably vote for Stewart over any of these. Yeah, I think Stewart would have the best chance to win. I think he definitely would. He would definitely win over Carlson. I mean, Carlson would. Ugh. Carlson's just so off-putting to anyone who's already not a white nationalist. Who's on? Yeah, we've been. Who knows? I mean, that's so far off. I couldn't possibly make a guess. And who knows what landscape will look like 4 years from now? There's no way. Someone could be like Gavin Newsom is really popular now, but he might be nobody within a year or two. You never know. Remember how many people wanted what's his name, Cuomo to run, and that tanked in 6 months. It's just, you never know. Or DeSantis, I never bought into. I never thought DeSantis was going anywhere. So many people talk about DeSantis. Yeah, it's and the funny thing is, it wasn't because I thought DeSantis was an inept politician. That wasn't why. I just thought that Trump would destroy him. I was like, no one other than Trump had a possible chance of winning the Republican nomination. So everyone talking about DeSantis, like, listen, eventually he's going to have to debate Trump and Trump's going to mop the floor with him. He didn't even get that far. Like, he was worse than I thought. Can't vote for Newsom after he killed the bill for California's own universal health care. I mean, yeah, DeSantis doesn't translate. Nope. I wonder if they'll stop holding debates in the future. I hope so. I wish the debate thing was different. I wish it was like a one-on-one interview or something. Because I think debates are ridiculous. Debates are entertainment. That's it. It's just entertainment. Like, no, they have like pre memorized statements or whatever. It's not a really debate at all, but just exchange of quotes. And the only thing that people in the media are looking for is zingers. They're waiting for their, I knew Mr. Kennedy. Mr. Kennedy was a friend of mine. You, sir, are no Jack Kennedy. That's what they want. It's just there to get the dunk. And it's stupid. I hope we get rid of debates. They're ridiculous. How could DeSantis wear those boots though? Debates will never stop because it's entertainment. Yep, entertainment sports, exactly. And it's an ego thing for the candidates. And they don't like them either. And if a candidate is winning, they don't debate because it's a waste of time. Like, you're just risking losing votes if you're winning big. Which is why, like, candidates who are up don't debate. I wouldn't either because it's stupid. Like, it's just an opportunity for blood sport and for a contender to get a hit, to get a bump in the polls. It's, like you said, it's entertainment, and debates do not reflect how someone will. You're right. Yeah. It's I disagree. Trump doesn't memorize shit. Okay, well, yeah, I guess with Trump, it wouldn't be memorized quotes. You're right. Everyone else, though, yeah. Trump does memorize quotes. He absolutely does. He does say a lot of the same things over and over again. Like, whenever he talks about environmentalism or global warming, one thing I noticed he did a lot the first time he ran is whenever someone brought up global warming, Trump would say, I am a strong proponent of clean air and crystal clear water. Everyone would clap, which is a common Republican dodge. Like, not in those exact words, but when you talk about the environment and global warming, they always say, well, littering is bad. And then people accept that. That means you're going to stop carbon emissions, which it doesn't. But so he did say that line a lot. There's a lot of lines Trump does repeat, so he does that. Mike Gravel did well in debate. Yeah. There's just so few meaningful moments in debates, because, like you said, it's scripted and just a sporting event. What would a candidate you were truly enthusiastic to vote for look like? A lot like this. He'd look and sound a lot like me. I mean, you can probably guess, honestly. Announce you're running on live. My fellow Americans, after long consideration and convening with my friends, family, loved ones, TikTok followers, I have decided I will, in fact, be running for president of the United States in the 2028 United States election. I look forward to presenting my vision for the American people to all of you. And I would like you to join me on my journey to make this country as great as it can possibly be. I know there are a lot of pitfalls and traps in our way, and we have a lot to live up to embody the strength of the American experience, of the American experiment, and to raise the conditions for all of us. Because the way I see it, I'm no better than anyone else. I have been blessed with a life that has been essentially wrapped in a Christmas package. And every day I see people struggling. I see friends I know that I can't help. I see strangers I know that I can't help. And as long as there is a lower class, I am in it. If there is a criminal element, I am of it. And as long as there is one soul in prison, I am not free. And I will do my best to bring the standard of living of every United States citizen to where it should be. And I may not be successful in all of my endeavors, but with the help of my team and of all of you, I think we can do amazing things. So I'd like your vote. Yeah, that's the only thing. The flag. That's funny. I have one voter at least. Fold laundry K. Thank you. That would have gone a lot smoother, but I couldn't remember the Eugene Debs quote. I was trying to find it. I was like, oh man, how did it start? In fact, I'm blanking on it right now. I just said it. As long as there's a lower class, I am in it. Where there's a criminal element, I am of it. And while there's one soul in prison, I'm not free. That is it. That's a hell of a good quote. All right, I'll vote for you in a safe state. That's funny. I'm starting the TJ Whitehead for President 2024 write-in campaign right now. You heard it here first. That's funny. When you're a governor of Indiana, remember we were there. Listen, like you think that the Indiana is going to elect a blue governor? That was a quote. Oh no, I didn't make that up. I should have rolled with it though and pretended I did. That would be funny. No, that wasn't my quote. That was Eugene Debs. I couldn't remember it. I was trying to had like a 10-second pause trying to remember how it went, but it's a hell of a quote. It's fantastic. Although it does display you have a lot of confidence in me, dresses and swords, that I could think of that on the spot. I did not. I wish I was that creative. No, I assume you will run as a Republican. Oh, that's right. I forgot. That is a plan that I recommend all of us do. I think, no joke. I think that 2 years from now, we should all plan to just flood the American political system on the state, local, and federal level. All of us running as Republicans and beating them at their own game, just reciting meaningless platitudes and getting elected and then flipping once we get in office. I think I know we'd win at least a few seats doing that. I know we would. So maybe not a governorship, but we could win like some city councils, maybe state house and state senate and everything. Didn't you say that you couldn't be trusted to be a politician? I don't think anybody can. Yeah, it's like what I say is that if I became a politician, I have very little reason to believe I wouldn't end up like the rest of them. Like, what, I have some sort of super morals or something? No, like I just don't think I would either end up like the rest of them or I would lose my office. I would like to think I would just lose the office, but you know, how many people go into office, trying to be duplicitous liars? Some of them do, yeah, but a lot of them actually, want to do good things, but then they find out the system is stacked against them unless they, sign that deal with Mephistopheles, and they don't want to lose their position. They're like, well, I might not be who I want to be, but I can still do some good. And so they, make the deal with the devil, and they're the politicians we know. I think that's just bound to happen. Oh, I appreciate it, Stony. I just don't see a reason to think that I'm any different than anyone else. I just don't. I would like to think that. I can see you literally signing on a devil. Now, with a literal deal with the devil, yeah, it's the devil. Yeah, I mean, hey, but a figurative deal, I would like to think that, I could remain principled and then just lose the office or lose the money. That's the important part. You lose the money and then you don't get reelected. So, well, that's in your favor. I don't know what's in my favor, Bill. I don't know what you mean by that. Although I think a lot of these folks, like, they've always wanted to be like a congressman and they will die a Congress. I don't have that feeling. I don't think I would care that much if I lost. I can do something else, I don't need the job. So I'd be the best damn one-term congressman you guys could ever elect. That's what I would end up being. That's true. That's how I would work for me. Ted Cruz. Yeah, Ted Cruz, exactly. Ted Cruz would sell his children for his Senate seat. Like I could never do something like that. There's no way. I will tell you this: like these folks trying to become vice president and just debasing themselves, no way at all. There's nothing is worth acting the way these people are. Just treating Trump like Kim Jong-un and everything, and allowing him to insult their family. There's no way, man. No possible way. No chance at all. So yeah, I guess I am better than some of them because I would never do that. Just for the chance to be his vice president. Not like you do this and you're guaranteed to be vice president. I guess I could get it then, but man, just for the opportunity, no shot. I'd love your take on Reagan and how is the line to Trump like how Reagan led to Trump. Well, Reagan led to pretty much every president we've had since Reagan. They've all been some version of Reagan. I would say that the most direct line between Reagan and Trump is Reagan's marriage of the Republican Party to like Jerry Falwell's moral majority, and like saying, hey, we get these super extreme Christians on our side, and convincing them about, trickle down economics and abortion and stuff. They'll be in lockstep, and it worked. And what the Republican Party didn't plan on is the fact that eventually you're going to lose the Reagans and the Bush seniors and the Newt Gingriches, and you're going to have the Mike Huckabees and the Rick Santorums and the Sarah Palins, where the inmates started running the asylum. Like there weren't any grownups left. Like all those folks had horrible policies, but they weren't insane religious ideologues. And now the Republican Party has been taken over by not necessarily the religious ideologues, but the cultural ideologues. The ones that, really believe the conspiracy nonsense. And that's how we ended up with Trump. I watched your YouTube video. Your channel is underrated. Oh, Chunky Boy, thank you. I try my best. I don't post on YouTube nearly enough. I really need to start doing. The problem with YouTube is that I do videos with John on the left wing, and I do some on my own channel, but it's very hard to do a video by myself. It's very boring. And I should write a script, but I hate writing a script. And so I just kind of riff on my own, and then it doesn't sound good. I have to edit it again. So what I end up doing is just interviews, and I like doing those a lot, but I need to do more solo content. And this works well, where I can read you guys' comments and respond. I'm more of a riffer, than just like hey, hey, here's today's news story, and then try to joke. It's hard for me to do. I just need to practice, but thank you. I appreciate it. For those of you not following my YouTube channel, it's also Powers Taken Not Given. Go over and check it out. My humble little YouTube channel. I don't know how Ted Cruz's wife could look at this and say, yo, right? Like if Ted Cruz, like Donald Trump called Ted Cruz's wife ugly, and she's still married to him. And Cruz yelled at Trump for it, said it's not cool and everything, and then phone banked for him, and then praises him to the media, and then tells people to vote for him. It's like, how could you possibly? I don't know, man. I don't know how you could look your wife in the eye after that, man. Maybe she should be married to Trump instead of you, Ted Cruz. I mean, he's the real man here. Remember that one time Joe defended Clarence Thomas? Oh, okay. Well, I don't remember that, but I know it happened. Yeah. No, Money the Hill thing and everything. I mean, I know what happened, but I mean, you know what I mean when I don't remember it. I don't remember seeing it because I was too little. Who are you guys watching me on StreamYard? I'd like to know. You guys are there. I see you, but none of you have commented yet. Just what's up? I just want to know. Just want to talk, folks. The TikTok people are saying a lot. Do you know the story about Thomas lying to his sister being on benefits? No, don't know that one. Thoughts on the song "The Chosen One" by Natasha Owens? I don't have any. I think I know that song, but not enough to have like a strong opinion on it. He told Republicans that his sister was a welfare queen when she was actually working 2 jobs. Yikes, bro. Clarence Thomas, man. Just when I thought my opinion of him couldn't get any lower. Like, why did he even do that? Like, I saw something what was the recent decision? Oh, yeah, the Supreme Court decision about if someone on, I think, if you have a restraining order, whether or not they could put you on a red flag list for a gun. And the Supreme Court said, well, yeah, of course, except Clarence Thomas. Clarence Thomas was the only one that said, no, actually, that's wrong. People on restraining orders should be able to buy weapons. Like, this guy is just garbage. Trump being Jesus was not my bingo cards. Yep. Oh, God. Favorite movie is tough. My favorite movie is probably Goodfellas. I love Goodfellas. But there's a lot that Oh, is it domestic violence? That's even worse. That can't be right because that's like an amendment. It's like what's the name of that amendment? If you have a domestic violence charge, you can't buy a firearm. I can't remember the name of that amendment. Solomon Amendment? No, it's not right. Because that's why you can't join the military if you have a domestic violence charge, because you're not allowed to have a firearm if you have a domestic violence. I can't admit that went to the Supreme Court. Well, I don't know. Maybe you're right. I thought it was restraining orders. Ever since TJ was little, he wanted to be to beat political comment. Yeah. That's a great opening. One of my favorite openings in cinema. Honestly, that's one of the reasons it's my favorite is that as far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a gangster. Great opening. Clarence Thomas was just like no such thing as domestic violence back when they wrote the second. Whoo, boy. I think Ben Shapiro is probably the smartest right-wing commentator, which makes him the most evil because he knows he's lying, and he's a religious zealot. I think he's sincere. I think he's sincerely like a conservative religious guy that really believes a lot of the nonsense he says, but he does his best to try to hide his beliefs behind some sort of construction of a logical defense, when really it's just religious stuff that he doesn't want to, He tries to dress up the best he can. You can't be the facts and reason guy when you're like, oh yeah, God is real and he tells me what to do. Like, come on. But like, I have a higher opinion of Shapiro than like Dave Rubin or something, like a fridge temperature IQ guy like Dave Rubin. Whew. He is right. It's domestic. Oh my God. Oh, restraining order was an issue in the case. Wow. So were they talking about domestic violence conviction? Whew, that's insane. Fridge temperature IQ. Yeah, I mean, come on. Yeah, like, let's be real here. These. You telling me you think Dave Rubin has an IQ of 50? Come on. Wolfie hasn't been up here. I've been doing this for 2 hours, and Wolfie hasn't come up here. That is a record. I've never gone this long on camera without Wolfie showing up. That's really weird. Favorite political commentator? My favorite political commentator is no longer with us. That was Michael Brooks. Michael Brooks. If you guys listen to Michael Brooks before he passed away, you know what I'm talking about. That's another reason I know there's no God, that Michael Brooks is dead, and Steven Crowder is still healthy as a mule. God took away Michael Brooks before he was 40 years old. God, if you guys didn't get to catch Michael Brooks, you missed out. You missed out, man. I felt like crying the day Michael Brooks died. I really did. It was so sad. It was just, man. The video Shapiro telling Dave, where'd it go? Dave Rubin, he wouldn't bake him a cake. Oh, I know. That was good. That's just how, like, Dave Rubin sat there and took it to it. He keeps doing it. Like, conservatives keep telling them how little they think of him and the queer community. And Dave Rubin's like, oh, okay, you guys aren't as bad as the left, though. Like, man, the checks can't be that big, man. The checks cannot be that big to just sell your dignity like that. Wolfie is streaming on Twitch. That's the best comment I've ever seen. Alex, that is the best comment I've ever seen. Wolfie is streaming on Twitch. God, can I screenshot this? Yes. All right. That's amazing. Wolfie is streaming on Twitch. Did you listen to Destiny? I mean, I don't listen to Destiny. I've seen clips from Destiny here and there. He's very good at what he does. Can you think of any politicians that are like Bernie Sanders? I mean, I don't know. The only reason we know Bernie's not in it for the power is because we have like 40 years to look back on. Most people, we don't have that, so I don't know. Majority Report is no. It hasn't, Aaliyah. It has not. And look, Emma does a great job. I like Emma a lot. But her chemistry with Sam is like 1/10 if it was with Michael Brooks. Because there's a lot of times that I can tell, because like I think on the same wavelength as Sam a lot of ways, and I see where he's going. And then Emma will jump in and she's way over here. It's like, no, that's not where he's going. And then Sam's got to put it back on course. Happens all the time. And it's not, Emma's not bad at her job. She's amazing. It's just that they aren't on the same wavelength a lot of time. Sam and Michael were always on the same wavelength. And Michael, of course, he had the added bonus of doing the impersonations and the jokes and everything. So it hasn't been the same since Michael's been gone, and it never will be. I can't, there's not another Michael Brooks out there, but yeah, it is kind of sad. Not Destiny's Child. Yeah, I got that. You can admit to crying. Hey, I said almost cried because it's true. I almost cried. I don't think I did, but I felt like it. I felt like crying when Michael Brooks died. Actually, you know what? I did cry when Sam started crying, because Sam opened the show as normal, but then because I knew Michael Brooks was dead before I think I watched the actual clip with Sam, and Sam broke down and started crying, and he talked about how he was trying to think what Michael Brooks would do, like how he would start the show if someone told him that, hey, you died before the show. And Sam said that Michael Brooks would have like wrote a funny sketch of, I can't remember the sketch he came up with, but it was like, oh, that does sound very Michael Brooks or whatever. Like pretending he was still alive or something. But God, that was heartbreaking, man. You've heard a million times, but when you think, you've heard a million times, but when you think of run, that's quite, when do I think, will I think of running? I don't know. We talked about that before. I don't know, maybe. What do you think about the 10 Commandments being reported in Louisiana schools? I'm for it. Would you go back in time to meet ancestors or go forward? Always forward. Never go backward. I never go back in time. No chance. Especially as a black person. If I had a time machine that could only go backwards, it would not need much gas. I wouldn't go any further back than like my lifetime, just to fix errors I made. But if you think I'm gonna go back 100 years, fine, I don't care. No shot at all. I don't know my ancestors. Why would I want to talk to them? I don't really know my extended family. Like outside of like my immediate family, I never talk to my extended family. My grandparents, I didn't know my grandparents that well. Like when my grandparents died, I wasn't sad. I was sad because my parents were sad, but we were never close. There was this funny thing, like whenever my grandparents would call, they would call to talk to my parents, but my parents would always like call me and my brother and sister. Like, oh, hey, talk to grandma, talk to grandpa. And then we had to play this ridiculous game. And I'd be on the phone like, hey, grandpa, I don't want to talk to him. He doesn't want to talk to me, but we both got to, take part in this ridiculous farce to appease the people we actually care about, my parents. And we're like, we have this awkward, it happened every single time. But, I appreciate my parents trying to craft that bomb. They never gave a damn about us. So, but they're all dead now. And so, yeah. I guess I run the risk of going forward that we're all dead from global warming. That would kind of suck, but I'll take that chance. Who would you say is the best president of the United States? All right. There's only two candidates for best president of the United States. Candidate number one is John Quincy Adams. John Quincy Adams was an abolitionist and, like, by all accounts, a pretty good person, especially for the era. I mean, if we're just grading on a curve here, he seemed like a decent guy who, for the most part, wanted to do the right thing, especially compared to like his competition, like Andrew Jackson and stuff. And then the second candidate is William Henry Harrison, who's probably my choice for best president, only because he served 31 days and did the least amount of damage. So those would be my answers for best president of the United States. Can't do too much in 30 days. So old Bill Harrison gets the gold medal from TJ. I appreciate the laugh from Abraham Lincoln did something right. Yeah, he did. He did a lot wrong too. That's the problem with putting people in history. We have this horrible tendency to slot people in like historical figures as good person, bad person. I really wish we'd stop doing that because, like with Abe Lincoln, for example, Abe Lincoln's a good person. Abe Lincoln did the largest public execution of Native Americans in American history. Like he hung like dozens of Native Americans and stuff. I mean, so then when you bring this up to people like, oh, well, he was still a good person though. So I'm not interested in arguing if Abe Lincoln's a good person or not. Just argue the stuff he did. Like he did some, like, I mean, I'm not saying you said that, Alex. Yeah, he did do a lot of good things, but it just gets tricky when you start to slot people like that. But you're right. He did good things. You didn't say he was a good person, so I wasn't fair in my response there. 30 days. I stand by Jimmy Carter. Jimmy Carter seemed like a good. Jimmy Carter was a good person. I think Jimmy Carter was a very bad president. I don't think you could argue Carter was a good president. He's definitely at middle tier at best. I mean, just from the his response. Well, I mean, I guess I can't expect Jimmy Carter to like change our capitalist economic structure whenever we got faced with the problems of inflation and with outsourcing. All right, that's asking a bit much, but whenever like oil prices went through the roof and interest rates were super high and people couldn't afford to heat their homes, Jimmy Carter went out and said, hey, how about you put on a sweater? That's no, man. You can't say that as the leader of the country. Like anything is better than that, which is when Reagan came along and sold people snake oil and it worked, which Carter, I mean, you don't got to sell them snake oil, but you have to sell them an optimistic vision. Reagan came out and he did like a double-sided one because like part of his vision was, well, the real problem is black people. But you didn't have to do that. But what did Reagan do? Like Reagan was facing the same issues Carter was. And when he ran and he said, listen, this is America. We're a shining city on the hill. We're the greatest nation that's ever existed. That's what you do. You don't say, hey, tighten your belt and put on a sweater. So yeah, Carter just, he didn't have it in him. He didn't have it. So great person. A fantastic human being, but I wouldn't say he was a good president. Let's see. And he had that weird friend. Who? People are not buying it. Thank you. Yeah, that's true. Lincoln was personally reluctant to enact the 16th Amendment. Lincoln was dead before the 16th Amendment. Lincoln died before the 13th Amendment, so I'm not sure what. And no, it's okay. I was just saying that this. Oh, yep. Jimmy Carter was not a good president yet, but a decent man. And we proved as Americans, it's true. And what's the expression that Barack Obama, with Trump, it proves the United States loves a good old fashioned con man, but with Obama, it shows we also love a con artist. Or no, Republicans love a con man, Democrats love a con artist. Yeah. So, Iran Contra, Jimmy Carter pardoned Jefferson. Oh, I didn't know that. Yikes. Oh, that's bad. I saw something funny that when Robert E. Lee, after the Appomattox surrender, he wrote in a request to like the Secretary of State, William Seward. I think he wrote it William Seward to get his citizenship back. And William Seward like framed it. He didn't process it. He like framed it and sent it to a friend of his. So Robert E. Lee died like a chump with no U.S. citizenship, which is hilarious. I didn't know that until a couple of months ago, and I thought it was funny. And then I found out that, of course, the United States Congress, like in the 70s, probably maybe the same time around Carter, they posthumously reinstated Robert E. Lee's citizenship. But hey, he died before he knew, so I'll take that as a win. That's hilarious that Robert E. Lee begged for his citizenship back, and like, nah, man, they laughed at him. Great. I wish we'd have held on to that contempt for the Confederacy, all that time. God, it's a funny story. Is that why Biden said so little about inflation? I mean, no, I don't know. Biden could do different because the inflation rate has slowed. It's gone down. And in fact, amongst what he should go with is the fact that amongst our peers, like Western democracies, we have the lowest inflation rate. Like compared to the rest of the people in our weight class, our inflation rate. Now, look, that doesn't help your average American. It's still, heavy and everything, but you got to give it something compared. You just got to make the message right and don't lie. Wait, we were talking about Lincoln 2 seconds ago. Good presidents. Lincoln said he wouldn't have freed the slaves if he. Oh, yeah. So Lincoln said, when Lincoln was elected, he was elected as a Republican, which is an abolitionist party. But Lincoln's goal when he was elected was not to abolish slavery in the South. He saw that as too big of a task. Lincoln's goal was to stop the expansion of slavery. And with him being elected as president, the Democrats in the South knew that's exactly what's going to happen, that, they wouldn't be able to expand slavery to any more potential states. And that's why they seceded. And once again, Lincoln's number one goal was to unite the Union. He saw the abolition of slavery as a bar that was way too high. He didn't think it could be done. But then he signed the Emancipation Proclamation in 1863, telling the slaves in the South they were free, to kind of like destabilize it and everything. So Lincoln, after that, it was pretty much over for slavery at that point. At that point, it was pretty much done. You really can't go back on that. So what Lincoln's original goal was to free the slaves and expatriate them to West Africa, kind of like with the Liberia Project. Like he didn't think that black people could be assimilated as Americans. Now, whether or not he'd have gone through with that, probably not, because like it wasn't like an ironclad plan set in place. Otherwise, they'd have done it after Lincoln. It's not like Andrew Johnson was a big fan of keeping black people in the United States. So Lincoln famously said that if he could save the Union without freeing the slaves, he'd have done it. If he could save the Union and free the slaves, he'd do that too. Like saving the Union was his number one goal. So, yeah. Probably Carter went to Brazil to celebrate the Yeah, he was from the South. Oh, yeah, we were talking about that. So that flag in Minnesota, that was the first video I ever did that got any traction. It got like 10,000 views, which blew my mind. I was shocked to see so many views on that. I did a whole video talking about the Virginia Confederate battle flag in Minnesota. It's a great story. You're 100% right, but I need you to fix your shirt. I don't know what you're talking about, Benjamin. That's so funny. It's been 2 hours and no one's got that. I feel oh, it's an invitation to the wrong person. I'm gonna pretend that didn't happen. I'm gonna hop off on this live and hopefully we'll get a bunch of new people who don't know this. So Because I changed my shirt in front of you guys. You guys didn't say anything. How about that?